What's up guys, this is Austin Pryor with Proper Spray Equipment. Today I'm going to be going over how to prime your AR45, whether it's a brand new unit that's never been fired up before, or if you've had a major air leak and you are not able to get your machine primed. That's what this video is going to help you out with. You will need two things for this process. You're going to need a water source, preferably a garden hose. You can use your 12 volt, you'll just have to take off your tips, and then you just need a pair of pliers. This is going to be used to remove one of the clips over here. Now, since I've already primed this whole system, what I'm going to do is basically blow all the water out of the pump so I can show you guys on a fresh unit kind of what you're looking for. So we're just going to take our air compressor here. I'll try and do this with one hand, and I'm going to squirt the water out of that outlet. Okay, so depending on how your unit is set up, whether it's fresh out of the box or it's already on a pre-existing setup, it may look a little bit different. The first step is going to be removing your intake elbow here, and all you're going to do is twist this collar counterclockwise, and then you're going to wiggle on this little elbow and pull upwards at the same time, and you'll see why we have to do this here in just a second. This O-ring right here forms a bond inside of this inlet, and it's a pretty snug fit, so you just have to gently persuade it up without, breaking it. For your next step, you're gonna find your outlet line, which this is what goes to your hose reel. The other side is typically gonna have a pressure gauge on it. This here is your bypass, so you're gonna ignore that for now. This one here, like I said, goes to my hose reel, so this is what we're gonna mess with. What you're gonna do is take your pliers, grab your clip here, and you're gonna lightly pull it out and set it aside. And then you're going to remove this section here. This little black plastic piece has two O-rings on it. If you wiggle it and pull it out, it will come off rather easy. Depending on how old your machine is, you might have a couple more headaches. Okay, so now that you have your inlet line off and your outlet supply line off, this is the most important step. What you're going to do is you're going to take your garden hose and you're going to just lightly put some water in here. And the purpose of this is to fill this head up with water so that there's water here on the surface. You can see that. Now what you're gonna do is you're going to pull the pull start on your machine very, very slowly. You're not going to start it. You're not going to crank it fast. You'll see all I'm doing is rotating the pump head like this. What this is going to do is it's going to cycle that water down inside of that pump head, and it's going to suck in that water where it needs to. And we're just going to keep doing this. And I'll show you what we're looking for. What we're watching for here is whenever we pull this hose, we're waiting for water to drip out of here. That's gonna let us know that it can't suck in any more water and that the pump itself is primed. The big thing you wanna make sure is that your unit is in pressure mode, that it's not in bypass mode. Because if it's in bypass, it's gonna circulate through the bypass, it's not going to come out of that inlet, or that outlet, I'm sorry. And this could take a little bit, especially on a fresh system. See how there's water that's starting to come out of there now? That's telling us that the inlet is full of water, and now it's trying to push out the water that's in the pump towards the hose reel. So now that we have that completed and that the pump is primed, here comes the last step that is also very crucial. You're going to take your inlet line that goes to your inlet here. If it's connected to a hose and it's connected to your water tank, you're going to fill this up with water as well. As much water as it'll take. And once that's full with water, you're going to rehook this back up to your inlet here. Again, just be gentle with it because this is plastic. And now that that's all nice and snug, we're going to reconnect our outlet. To reconnect our outlet, we're going to repeat the same step that we did by taking it off. So we're going to line up these little ridges with the slots that are on this outlet. Sometimes you may have to wiggle it and push it in at the same time until it's seated. And then you're going to take your clip and place your clip back in, making sure that it goes all the way to that rounded portion. Now the pump is assembled and it's ready to go. The next step is priming your metering system and getting everything to flow through that correctly. So what we're going to do is open just the water valve here, and we're going to make sure that our soap, our secondary soap, and our bleach valve are turned completely off. We want to isolate each valve individually so it has enough time to prime that, pull any air bubbles through, and it's not trying to suck a ton of air through the entire system. We can just kind of do it little by little. So now that this is open, that's going to flow water through to the inlet. And then the other most important step is you're going to take your ball valve assembly, or if you have this just on a trigger gun, you're going to squeeze your trigger gun and wrap something around this so you can set it on the ground and let it just spray out water. Doing it with the ball valve like you see here is going to be a little bit quicker, and it's just going to put less stress on it initially. So now I'm going to ensure that I have water in my tank. I've got about 150 gallons, which is plenty for what we're going to be doing. I'm going to choke the machine, turn it on. I throttled the machine up. You can see water's already coming out there. The pressure gauge is good, the line isn't vibrating. We have some slight vibration here, but you can see it's getting the air bubbles out. It's pulling all the rest of the air through. And now it's a steady stream. So now what we're going to do is get the water side here primed on this valve. So I'm going to open this one, close the left one here, and now we're going to let all the water prime through on that side of the valve. Now that that's done, I'm going to open up our regular water, close this one, I'll open the soap all the way, and then I'll click the button on. And you'll see that there's some air bubbles that are trying to come through here. That's normal. But we have our soap that's coming through here. I'm going to shut that off. This one isn't full right now, so I'm not going to prime that. We'll wait for our soap to come out of the line there. We can see there's our soap, and then it'll go back to water here in just a second. So now we know that our main water, our rinse module water, and our soap valves are primed. The last step is doing the bleach. And what we're going to do for that is we're going to open this valve all the way. Let this catch back up, because I think I drew it back through a little bit of air. Now that that's good, I'm going to shut this one, press this on, wait for our bleach. See how that's solid, no air bubbles? We'll watch it up here. Okay, so now that's solid. You can see how there's no air bubbles in line. I'm gonna press this off. That will then pull water back through the hose. And I'm gonna open our water valve there to help it speed up a little bit. There's all of our bleach coming through the line. And you'll see here in a second, it's gonna go back to water. So now the machine's back on water, let's give it a distance test. And just to show you the pressure we're running it at, it's about 160, 170 PSI. And then off the trigger, we're getting to right about 225, 230. So now you have a good understanding of how to prime your AR45, whether it's a fresh out of the box build or if it's something that's on a trailer currently and it's having issues with priming. That is the generic process on how to get it to shoot out water. So just a quick overview on our setup. This one has about 250 hours on it. We've done a fuel tank delete. It draws from our 44-gallon combined fuel tanks over here. We've got 3/4 inch bypass, about 25 foot of it on a little spool. We've got 3/4 inch going to the reel over here. 18-inch electric reel with 300 foot of 5/8 hose. And then on the manifold, we have 1-inch valves for our bleach and water, 1/2-inch valves for our soap and neutralizers, what's in that one. And then we have a T-jet and a banjo polypropylene on-off valve for the soap. So yeah, this unit works pretty well, and that's how to prime it.